Hello, my name is Maxwell Grutter, and this is Lab 2 Charge Tape Revisited for Physics 2212. In introduction, the purpose of this lab was to compare the results we found from Lab 1, where we estimated the tapes as point charges, and instead estimating the tapes as the charges on the tapes as uniformly spread out. The method to go about this was entirely set up in GlowScript with no experimental portion because the experimental data we used was from Lab 1. The results you found were the point charge model gave us a charge of that, and there's the uniformly distributed model, which we can see is that. Fundamental concepts and ideas from this lab, we have that F net is delta P divided by delta T, F grav is negative mg, and then F electric is that. And then important assumptions from this lab is that air resistance is negligible. The tapes are acting like a uniformly distributed line of charge, which is obviously the point of this lab. The system of this lab would be the two pieces of tape, and an example of the surroundings is the Earth. Here is some of the GlowScript code, as you can see, and the picture of the left is just stating some important constants that we had for this lab, and then obviously we have how to calculate the electric field there on the bottom, which was also part of Lab 1, and then the side of the right was just code given to us from the lab. And continuing with the code, we have the top tape and bottom tape, where the only difference made there was that D, which was a constant I listed earlier as the distance between the two, and then just proper scaling there, and then this important code we add here in order to properly calculate everything we needed for this lab. And then further along down we have just the middle top and the how to create the arrows we had, which is obviously just the coding that we all know with the arrow and then setting its position, its axis, and then the color. And then on the right you can see the 2-point or the line charges of the two pieces of tape, as well as the magnitude from both forces and how they're distributed throughout the tape. Possible sources of error for this lab would just be having incorrect variables / results from Lab 1, or the fact that the tapes do not act, for some reason, would not be acting in a uniformly spaced out line of charge. And then obviously the most common one would be human error. And then what if we had modeled each of tapes as a single point charge like in the previous lab, and then comparing this estimated value of the charge you get when you use your experimental data to produce a point charge model to the value you got with your line charge model. And there you can see the value from this lab and then the point charge, and this shows that if it had been a single point charge, our value would seem to be half as much as the line charge model, which is a noticeable difference. And then why do these estimates differ? Which value is more likely to be closer to the real value, and why? And then these differ because a point charge versus a line charge model are very different ways to go about calculating charge in electric fields, and the value that is more likely to be accurate is the line charge model, because that is a more accurate representation of how the charge in tape actually works. Thank you for listening to my lab report.